I am so sorry I'm late. I can't.
Now you can?
Yes.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you.
Haven't we talked before?
No, not before. It's the first time.
Where are you in Brazil?
I'm in Rio de Janeiro.
Wow. I wish I could play there. That's wonderful. And your name Marcello?
Yeah,
How do you pronounce it?
it's Marcelo.
Marcelo?
Yeah,
Okay. I apologize.
no problem. First and foremost, I would like you to teach me the correct way to pronounce the band's name, because here in Brazil, we call it Cirith Ungol. Is that right?
Yeah, that's how we call it. But if you read the Lord of the Rings book by J.R.R. Tolkien, which we did several times, there's a whole series of appendixes, and then one's on pronunciation, and you're supposed to pronounce it Cirith Ungol.
Cirith.
But
Okay.
when we played in Germany once, this lady came up. She was a reporter, and she puts a microphone. She goes, "Is it true that you speak Elvish?" And I said, "No, because if we spoke Elvish, then we would have pronounced our name correctly." So, but
Okay.
anyway, I like over the years people have pronounced it, Cirith Ungol or anything like that. I think that's cool. People have made fun of us too and called us Sarah's uncle, which is probably lost your Portuguese speaking friends, but Sarah's a person's name and uncle is anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the band joke name. Uh, but
Well,
yeah, no, that's how we pronounce it, just like what you did perfectly.
thanks a lot. Well, you have a new album out, Dark Parade. Could you please talk a little bit about the title and the concept that ties everything together?
Well, this album is a very dark album, and I see it personally as like part two of our last album, Forever Black, which came out right as the pandemic hit. And even though the band over the years we flirted with some doomy and dark lyrics and music, the last couple of albums have been getting progressively darker. I think because as we've getting older, we look around us and we see what's happening in the world, and I think our music is reflecting the actual events that are surrounding us. Uh, people always ask us, why do you write such disturbing and dark material? And I wish we had an answer for that, but I think what we see what we see enveloping us and surrounding us, I think is has been the ultimate influence for these last several albums becoming darker and heavier and kind of more despondent. I'll tell you a funny story. When our last album came out, a girl that lives in our town locally, and she's a fan of our band, uh, she goes, "I bought your new album," and she goes, "When I listened to it, I started crying." And I'm all like, "Yes," because that's kind of what I didn't want to. We don't want people to cry, but I mean, what we're trying to express is the pain and the suffering of the world.
Mhm.
And if people get that, if for this lady crying, she understood what we were trying to express.
You kind of anticipated my next question regarding the lyrics of the songs, because I noticed that they somewhat engage with the album title. They are somewhat fatalistic and even pessimistic. And I would ask how much of these lyrics reflect what's going on inside your minds. Well, can we say that this worldview was amplified by the pandemic?
You know what? Everyone asked that, and I would say no. I really don't think so because we were already when Forever Black came out, right as the pandemic hit, we have already we were already on that path. Follow. I want you to know this isn't us enjoying the darkness. This isn't us embracing the darkness or the dark side. This is us warning. If you take my meaning, the music isn't us embracing the darkness and the downfall of man, but it's kind of like our prophetic warning is, look, if you don't want this to come true, then you have to make some changes. But if you look around us, mm, well, I was watching a show the other night. They're talking about artificial intelligence, and they had a gentleman on TV that uh, was considered the creator of artificial intelligence. And they asked him. They said, "How bad is this?" And he goes, "If we make it through to Christmas, we'll be lucky." And what, we're October 26th, so and I don't know whether that's true or not, but I'm just saying it's like we're headed down this very dark path, and our music is kind of responding to that. So and I know it's not real pleasant, and I wish our songs were about happier subjects, but that seems like where we were headed.
Um, how much has the pandemic affected you personally and the band as a whole?
Well, so many people died around the world. It's hard for us to complain about how something maybe might have affected our musical career. Uh, Members of the band, their relatives passed away. Uh, we had close friends that died from the pandemic too. So, we were affected by that, but also too, we couldn't go out and play any shows for Forever Black when it came out. And so it kind of affected not only us, but everyone in the music industry as a whole. So basically, we couldn't really support the music. But we started writing uh, what would become Dark Parade right about that same time as the other album was released.
And you released the EP Half Past Human during the pandemic. Can we say that it was the way you found to keep your mind sane during that time?
Yeah, not so much as that, but what you're saying, I never thought of it that way, but that's a good way of looking at it. Uh, what we didn't want to do is release another full-length studio album during the pandemic because we thought that was kind of like a dead space. I mean, uh, so people had been asking us. They said, "Hey, could you re-record some of your earlier songs?" And over time, we'd always said no. We want to keep putting out new material because we're getting older, and we have a shelf life. We don't want to go back in time. But then when the pandemic happened, we thought, hey, maybe this is a chance for us to dig out, four old songs, breathe some new life into them. Uh, and I recently just listened to that again, and I'm really proud of that. There's some good stuff on there. Now, some people think that they don't understand it. They don't understand those are old songs written in the 1970s. And then other people have actually asked us, or all our new albums, is that old material that we wrote years ago? And that's not true. All of that's new. And Half Past Human, which is right here, all of that's old. But I think what it says, listening to that, is our band, we haven't really changed that much over the years. You're talking that's 50 years ago music that we wrote, and it's not all that different from what we're doing today. Maybe we're a little bit more evolved, a little bit more skilled at what we're doing, but I think the core Cirith Ungol style is still kind of hidden in each one of those songs.
Speaking now about influences, do the same ones the band had when it was formed in the 70s remain the same? Or since the comeback 2015, do you feel that new elements have been brought to the sound?
Uh, I think as we move forward, we all feel that in the band. But then reading all the reviews, which is they're amazing and actually makes us feel good, and also kind of like uh, not bums us out, but almost everyone says, "Hey, this new album sounds like it could have been recorded in the 1980s," or "This sounds like an album that came right out after their last one." And uh, in a way, they're true because we're a band from the 1980s still putting out records. And even though we're using more modern equipment and we may be, like I said, a little bit more different place in our own lives, I think it's all still coming from that same original source where it all came from originally.
Do
Uh,
you personally listen to things outside the spectrum of heavy metal and rock?
yeah. Oh, I have for a long time. Matter of fact, when the band broke up, I stopped listening to a lot of music, rock music, because I was so sad that I wanted to be playing still in the band. So I listen to music from everything from folk music from around the world, uh, South American pan flute. Some of the guys in the Andes. Just all sorts of really kind of cool music. Uh, I've never really listened to country western music or rap or jazz music, stuff like that. But blues, my wife loves blues. Uh, Listen to a lot of blues, and like I said, a lot of the folk stuff. I like the folk music because it doesn't feel threatening to me. Uh, when I wasn't in a band, I could listen to a music that was like non-electric, and it seemed like coming from a different, more primitive era. Because every time I would see a band, I wished I was up there on stage still playing. I want to be up there playing the drums.
Well,
But when the band got back together, I got over that. So,
what artist, album, or show you attended to was responsible for sparking your passion for music?
well, I mentioned this a couple of times today. The first heavy metal show I ever saw was Mountain, and I remember it was at Long Beach Arena near Los Angeles, and it's the first time I'd ever seen like a rock band live on stage, and it just blew me away. So very powerful. Uh, the drumming, the bass guitar, the singing, the amplification, the lights, everything about it just made me think, hey, that's what I want to do. I want to be in a band. I want to be.
Mhm. Does it occur to you that perhaps somewhere in the world an album like Frost and Fire or King of the Dead will make a boy want to learn to play the guitar, to learn to play the drums and form a band?
Yeah, I hope so. And some other members of big bands have come out and said that we've influenced them. And I hope that's true. Uh, I can't take credit for that, but if that is true, it's wonderful. I mean, we're standing on the shoulders of musicians that came before us, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And musicians that come after us will stand on our shoulders uh, in kind, and in the future, people will stand on their shoulders, and that's how mankind has moved forward. That's why I think we're so depressed at seeing all this horrible, the climate collapse, the war, the hate, the suffering. Uh, Instead of moving forward in a future where we're all happy and healthy and meaningful, it seems like we're actually descending into a horrible uh, confluence of pain and suffering. I mean, that's how I.
Are you someone who keeps an eye on current releases, new bands?
Yeah, you know what? I think all of us, especially with us playing around the world, we played a lot of shows and played with so many bands over the years since we've been back together. Uh, Seeing that's the most fun of playing some of these bigger festivals because there'll be like so many other groups that we would have never had a chance to see live. And I think seeing a band live is sometimes, better than listening to their music on a record because you get to kind of see what they're, what the band's like, what they feel like. And yeah, no, it's amazing. Lately, though, I've been working on just our band stuff because we've been trying to get ready for shows and finishing up the album. And sometimes you get so involved with your own music, it's hard to kind of reach outside there for the other stuff.
But what new bands, or at least bands from the past 10 years, in your opinion, stand out?
Well, there's a bunch of them. Uh, there's a band, Brainstorm. They're a band I really like. Uh, Sometimes when I'm in the garage working on my car or something, they'll come on and I listen to them. We played recent with the band Sanhedrin from New York City. We played with them, but there are just so many bands, Smolder, Traveler, Midnight, Night Demon, all the bands that we played with over the last couple of years, it's like every band is just an amazing experience in itself. Slow Fag, Manila Road, a lot of bands that still aren't even together anymore because they've lost members. But it's hard to mention names like that because I'll forget a name of someone that I'm friends with and I'll feel bad later. But yeah, no. All you have to do is look at any of the shows we played at the list of the bands there, and every single one of them has been it's been an honor to play with on stage with.
Many bands mention Cirith Ungol as an influence, and the importance you had and still have is undeniable. Do you feel that the recognition should be greater?
I don't know. I think earlier in our career we thought we were going to make it big. We really did, and a lot of the bands around us were making it big. Bands like Rush, Judas Priest, bands were kind of coming out from our same era. Uh, but I think we realized, being a big band is more. I really feel it's more about luck than it is about talent. Being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right person, what have you. And so along with that, you have to be at peace with yourself to be happy with what you have and not what you wish that you had, because all of us wish that there's always a better band. There's always a better looking person. Uh, uh, Someone always has a bigger house or fancier car, or more money, or anything like that. So you have to sort of just be happy with what you have and try to enjoy your life as best as you can. And we've tried to do that by creating heavy metal.
Looking back with the mindset you have today, would you have done something differently, maybe taken a different career decision?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I've been asked that several times today, and I still don't have an answer for that. I don't think we would have done anything differently, and that's one of the reasons why we probably never made it big, because we were stuck on this idea of playing the heaviest music that we could, that we liked. A lot of times bands will think of like, I'm going to write a song that people are going to like, or it's people can sing along with, or that the radio or will be on a video people will like. And we never really thought about that. And I think that was probably our biggest mistake. But I think that's what's made our music stand out from the crowd as being more unique and more different, because we are that. We're the guy in the class with you that has 3 eyeballs. You know what I mean?
I don't even have to ask if you're a fan of The Lord of the Rings, but I would like to know how involved you are in this world. Involved to the point to follow things related to Tolkien universe and such.
No, I don't, but I've reread The Lord of the Rings recently. And a lot of times I'm on the airplane with the band, so I have audiobooks. And so I listen to the whole Silmarillion, The Hobbit, along with H.P. Lovecraft. I'm always listening to all of the famous stuff that we kind of grew up on. And I would say that I still see them as very important classics that influenced the band and my life. But I wouldn't say I'm overly into them, like role playing or anything like that, or like you said, the Tolkien universe. But if something comes up online, or I see something, or a new HBO series on the Lord of the Rings, I watched that recently. So I will follow it, but I'm not.
Would you excuse me for a minute?
What's that?
Would you excuse me for a minute? I think
certainly.
my doorbell is ringing.
Certainly.
1 minute. Sorry about that, man. Well,
I have my friend here, Cthulhu. He's like, I don't have a pet dog or cat, so I have Cthulhu as my friend.
Yeah, I have a small dog. Well, thinking of the band's discography, which in your opinion is the most important album you released?
Wow. I would always say it's our last album. Or I'm a big fan of Enzo Ferrari. I love cars. I love racing. And you know what Enzo Ferrari said? They said, what's your best car? And he goes, it's the next one that I built. And so I don't know if you've read that the band, we've announced it retiring from playing live at the end of 2024. I don't know if you heard that or not. So next year is going to be our final year playing together. And I hope that you and any of your friends or anyone in Brazil, if we played there, could come out to see the band play live. Uh, but I'm hoping still at some point too that we can keep creating some new music. That is my dream. You have to have a dream. I think once you stop dreaming, you stop living, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has to have a goal in life. And so even though we're stopped playing live, I can deal with that because of age and traveling and all the stuff that, has to go along with it. But I'm not going to give up on creating new music. And the fire burns inside me, all of this, this is what, to me, this is life, is heavy metal. So
Cirith Ungol only visit to Brazil was in 2019 for a single performance at the Setembro Negro Festival. Could you share some memories from that occasion?
oh my goodness, we had such a good time down there. I was surprised because we live near Los Angeles and it's a big city. But when we were traveling, we'd see some skyscrapers and I'd say, what city is that? And they go, that's Sao Paulo. And then 30 minutes later, there was more skyscrapers. And I go, well, what city is that? And they go, that's Sao Paulo still, And so we couldn't believe at how giant, Sao Paulo was. It was like, it's a big, I'm a racing fan. There was a racetrack there. I wish I could see one of the races too. But also too, when we got to the hotel, there was like a handful of like maybe 20 people, like fans, longtime fans of the band that were standing outside there to get autographs and stuff. And this was a very sad thing, but I have to share this with you. We signed and autographs and talked to the people. And I said, are you coming to see us play tomorrow? And almost all of them said that we can't afford to see your band, And so I talked with our manager, Jarvis, and we talked with the promoter, and I tried to get as many of these longtime fans of the band, get them on the list to come in to see the show because they couldn't have made it without that. And to me, that was, it just broke my heart, I mean, it's expensive to go see concerts here too, but these people, some of them had been fans of the band for like many years. But I also too remember playing at the show, seeing all the people and the excitement. I just really had a good time, and I can't wait I hope that we can play in Brazil again.
What could you perceive about the Brazilian audience?
They kind of remind me of the Greek audience because they're all very excited and ready, that's
like in a soccer game.
Yes, exactly. Oh, another thing too, along the side of the freeway, you had the capybara. They're like big animals.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've never seen those before, and they were really big. And we were also too on the freeway. There was people selling drinks and stuff, and where we live, they'd be killed because the drivers would be so crazy. So we were shocked that there was people, standing, and a lot of times the traffic, you'd stop and you'd buy something to drink. But that's just a different things from where we live. But it was all an amazing experience, and can't wait to come back.
And so is a new visit in the plans or maybe already in negotiation?
You know what? I have nothing to do with that. Being a drummer in the band, that's all between our agents and our manager to book the dates. But I'm pretty sure we're playing a handful of dates in South America next year.
And what's your message for the Brazilian fans, just to sum this up?
Thank you for supporting our band over the years. And you are friends. We're North America, you're South America, but we're all Americans, right? We're all in this together. And if you get a chance to come out and see us, please come out, because we're all brothers and sisters in metal. And we'd like to say goodbye to you one last time before the veil closes.
Robert, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And I hope to meet you in Brazil next year. Thank you so much.
Please come up and say hello to me too.
Thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.